Mr. Michael Swain, and a very good morning to you, sir. Trust that you're well this morning.
Good morning, Jonathan. Always great to be on the show with Breakfast with Friends.
It's so good to be with you as well. So, Michael, we have to talk about a very important topic. And can you please just give us some background on why Minister Aaron Motsoaledi made his recent remarks indicating that the Department of Home Affairs is considering looking into ways to clamp down on on foreign nationals looking to perform religious work in South Africa?
Well, his remarks were made in the context of his appearance before Parliament to really answer questions about the inquiry into Shepherd Bushiri, otherwise known as Prophet Bushiri, who was able to skip the country and evade justice when he was on trial for fraud and money laundering in the High Court of Pretoria. And at the same time, the minister also mentioned the trial of Timothy Omatosa, who you might know in Port Elizabeth is facing also very serious rape and human trafficking charges. And he seemed to use that moment to highlight the problems caused by foreign nationals who come into South Africa as religious workers, which is obviously deeply problematic. I mean, while the charges brought against both Bushiri and Omatosa are certainly very grave, they absolutely should not be used to paint all foreign religious workers as sort of potential criminals who should therefore be denied entry by the government to work in this country. Again, we've spoken about this before. You cannot cloak your criminal activity with religious freedom rights. A crime is a crime is a crime, irrespective of who commits it. And obviously, if you commit a crime, you should face the full weight of the law, whether you're a pastor, a postman, or indeed a politician.
That is such an on-point comment there, Michael. So what power does the minister have to regulate visa allocation?
Well, he has extensive power. I mean, the Department of Home Affairs is allowed to put any forms of restrictions on whatever visas it grants to any foreigner coming into this country and for any reason. And obviously, when you get a visa, whether it's a tourist visa or a work-related visa, you have to abide by the conditions of that visa. You can't come in for one purpose and then end up performing another. And if you do, then you can, of course, face deportation and perhaps other lawful sanctions. But I think the problem there is, in this case, is that he's used these two high-profile criminal cases, and he seems to have come up with some kind of a policy that's obviously based upon exceptional circumstances. I mean, the vast majority of foreign national religious workers, the absolute vast majority, are wonderful people doing wonderful works, and many of them have been in this country for many years and served this country well. And you should not make a general policy on exceptional circumstances, because it will always produce a bad outcome.
Wow, that's actually quite deep. And also, Michael, what about foreign national religious workers who are already in SA? How will this affect them?
Again, that's the other big question, because there are many, many of them, and many of them have been here for many years. So what will be the outcome? The thing is that although you may be here on a work visa, you may even be here as a permanent residence, the fact of the matter is that at some point you may have to renew your visa as a foreign national who's here as a religious worker. And what happens then? What will the criteria be that will be applied to you? Will you be granted a new visa, or will you just have your visa revoked and then be forced to leave the country? These are very serious questions, and it's very disruptive, I think, to leave the thing so loose in the juice and to make statements without necessarily giving the criteria. Again, the minister can give whatever criteria he wants, but that criteria should always be fair and equitable. In other words, you can't discriminate against religious workers by applying a blanket ban on them, but allowing foreign nationals to come in and work in another profession where there may be much more lax criteria. Because the fact that you're a religious worker doesn't mean that you are predisposed to be a criminal. That would obviously be biased and unfair and certainly discriminatory.
Most certainly. We're chatting to Michael Swain. He's the Executive Director for Freedom of Religion South Africa. He's joining us from load shedding location. So for those who are watching the video and saying, why is Michael not putting his video on? It's because of load shedding and one of the realities that we sadly have to deal with at this stage. But just in terms of the conversation, the visas, the foreign religious workers in our country, and the discussion around that. What exactly, Michael, is 4SA doing regarding this matter?
Well, we do what we always like to do, which is to keep a very close watch on anything that could potentially erode religious freedom rights. So this is obviously one such issue. And when such an issue, and this one in particular, was alerted to us, we obviously look into it. We look at what the law says about it. We form a balanced, reasoned opinion, and then we try to inform and educate people, and obviously giving a lot of radio interviews and TV interviews, and obviously very delighted to be on this show this morning. And tell listeners what's happening so that people are at least alerted and aware. And the other thing we've done is we've written to the minister, to the department, to strongly urge him to reconsider his position in this matter, because, again, I think he made it somewhat in a sort of a knee-jerk reaction. We don't ever attribute bad faith to government or wrong intentions, but sometimes it's good to just point out perhaps the unintended consequences, or at least the gaps in what the minister may have said or declared, so that people can have the confidence and have the assurance that they can indeed carry on and practice their faith and their religious freedom, even if they're foreign nationals, who, by the way, have equal rights to religious freedom under the Constitution because they're in this country. It attaches to everybody who is within this great nation of South Africa.
And what a great nation it is. Michael, it's always great chatting to you. I know that there are other religious freedom issues that we need to highlight, and we will definitely do so in the near future. But for those who want more information, who want to follow and find out about religious freedom and the fight for religious freedom in our country, how do they connect with 4SA?
The best way is to go onto our website, forsa.org.za. We also have a Facebook page, Freedom of Religion SA, and we're also starting to really ramp up our YouTube channel, the 4SA YouTube channel. So if you want to watch more stuff, which I think a lot of people do nowadays, then please go to the 4SA YouTube channel, and you can check out all the latest videos and all the latest news there.
Michael, as always, great to chat to you, and we wish you and the rest of the team all the best. Thank you so much for keeping your fingers on the pulse when it comes to freedom of religion in our beautiful country. God bless.
Thanks, Michael.
Thank you, Jonathan. God bless.